The night air was thick with anticipation as the ancient oaks whispered secrets to the silver moonlight. I had long since resigned myself to the late-night patrols, but nothing could have prepared me for the stealthy trespasser who crept up to my back door at precisely 4 a.m. The world was silent, too silent, until the soft click of the lock being jimmied yanked every nerve in my body to full alert. I froze, senses sharpening like blades, as a hulking silhouette materialized against the dim glow of the porch light. Karen, me self-entitled neighbor, whose reputation for petty tyranny had spread farther than her paycheck could ever justify, stood there, her girth filling the frame, her eyes gleaming with malicious resolve. In her hand she clutched a battered wooden plank, the perfect symbol of her deluded crusade. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Too many nights before had taught me that rash action invites disaster. Instead, I whispered into the darkness, "Rex Dalton front." Instantly, the low growl of anticipation reverberated through the floorboards as my 2 Belgian Malinois emerged from the shadows, fur-bristling, teeth bared. Karen's smug smile faltered as she realized she was not alone in this house. A bead of sweat traced her spine as the K9s advanced, eyes burning with unspoken warning. She raised the plank like a makeshift weapon, but terror had already slithered into her heart. This shocking intrusion was not the first of Karen's provocations. She had spent weeks filing baseless complaints, demanding I replace perfectly functional fences and regrade my gravel driveway, all while parking her luxury SUV half on my lawn. The HOA had winked and nodded at every outrage, powerless or unwilling to challenge her. But tonight, under the shroud of darkness, she had taken her arrogance too far. As Dalton lunged forward in a controlled strike, Karen shrieked, dropping the plank and scrambling backward. I stepped into the porch light, voice steady but cold. "You want to wake the neighborhood? Try breaking in." My K9s formed a silent barrier between her and safe retreat. Her lips trembled, her eyes darting like a cornered animal. In that moment, the truth of her cowardice was laid bare. Before I could secure her, though, a sudden crash echoed from the side yard. My pulse raced as a second figure emerged, me brother, a former FBI trainer who had been staying with me. He moved with graceful precision, disarming the panic with a calm command. "Stand down, Rex." The dogs retreated, ears pinned in hesitation, and Karen's insulted roar shattered into desperate sobs. The unexpected arrival of my blood bound to justice by years of federal service was the twist she never saw coming. With my brother's help, we guided Karen onto the porch, the wooden plank abandoned at her feet like a guilty relic. Dawn's first light crept over the horizon as I dialed 911, describing an attempted burglary in progress. Karen's denial crumbled under the weight of my K9s, bristling testimony, and my brother's unwavering calm. By the time the patrol car's headlights carved through the gloom, she was handcuffed, her inflated ego punctured beyond repair. Locked in the back of that cruiser, Karen's face twisted in disbelief. My dogs sat sentinel at my side, their loyalty unshaken by her tantrums. In that moment, the neighborhood learned what blind arrogance can never withstand: unwavering vigilance backed by trained justice. As word spread, the HOA scrambled to rewrite its bylaws and apologize for inaction. My mother, once a recluse, offered to bake pies for the officers who came to inspect. Even the mailman nodded and tipped his hat, recognizing the quiet strength that stands guard. My phone buzzed with messages from neighbors who had once cowered at Karen's demands, now emboldened to speak up. I walked into my sunlit living room, the morning calm restored. The plank lay by the door, its handwritten warning a relic of misguided fury. I placed it in my workshop, planning to refinish it as a gift for the local K9 unit. The world had shifted. Karen's empire of fear had crumbled beneath the teeth of truth and loyalty. In the quiet aftermath, I realized that justice requires more than righteous anger. It demands preparation, vigilance, and unwavering faith in those who stand by your side. What do you think is true courage, found in steel and muscle, or in the hearts of those who refused to bow? The days that followed were an unwritten testament to the power of community solidarity. As dawn gave way to morning routines, I discovered a stack of hand-scrawled notes pinned to my front gate, each bearing a neighbor's hurried encouragement. "Thank you for standing tall," one read. "Your bravery awakened us all," claimed another. I pinned them beside the plank in my workshop, the simple wooden relic now transformed from an instrument of intimidation to a symbol of communal resilience. Though the HOA had scrambled to contain the fallout, retracting Karen's frivolous complaints, issuing public apologies, and promising a thorough review of their bylaws, word of the attempted break-in continued to reverberate. I stood at my kitchen window, brewing a pot of strong coffee, and watched as Mrs. Delgado across the street leaned over her fence, offering a warm smile of solidarity. A group of children paused mid-bicycle ride to wave. Even the local paper printed a short editorial commending vigilant homeowners for protecting private property rights. Late that afternoon, I received a terse email from the HOA board president, hastily scheduling an emergency meeting to discuss security improvements. I drafted my own letter in response, urging them to prioritize neighborly communication over punitive measures. By that evening, I had settled into my armchair with a well-worn leather-bound journal, gifted by my grandfather. Curiosity gnawed at me was Karen's belligerence born of malice, or the fear of losing control. In that spirit, I penned a brief note inviting her to a mediated conversation, offering to share my security footage over coffee. My brother, ever the pragmatist, warned against extending the olive branch. She's not in the right headspace. Yet something in the quiet resolve of her sobbing intrusion told me that beneath the inflated ego lay a woman desperate to be seen. When the meeting convened at the community center, a hushed tension filled the auditorium. Board members sat stiff-backed in folding chairs. Neighbors craned their necks, whispering among themselves. I took the podium, heart pounding, and recounted the night's events with measured calm, projecting the video feed onto a large screen. Karen sat in the front row, cheeks flushed crimson, arms folded as though shielding herself. As the footage played, my voice calmly recalling each detail, the gleam of fear in her eyes as the dogs charged, I spoke not with triumph, but with an earnest appeal. We all want safety. We all want respect. I hope we can move forward together. A sudden shift rippled through the room when Karen finally addressed the crowd. Voice quavering, she confessed that mounting financial pressures and a deep-seated distrust of outsiders had driven her paranoia. Her father's estate was dwindling, and she feared losing the home she had inherited. I thought maybe if I forced action they'd hear me, she stammered, eyes darting toward the floor. The raw vulnerability in her admission drew a collective exhale. Though her methods were indefensible, her fear had resonated with many who felt overlooked. My brother, seated at the side, rose and offered a proposition. A neighborhood watch program with regular check-ins, trauma-informed conflict resolution workshops, and a dedicated funding pool for financial counseling. I reminded everyone that security need not come at the cost of trust. A hand shot up in the back. Mr. Thompson, a quiet retiree who had once been an engineer. I'll donate my time, he said. Let's build a network so no one feels they must resort to desperate measures. By the meeting's end, the atmosphere had shifted from confrontation to collaboration. Karen, though chastened, accepted a seat on the newly formed safety committee, her humiliated pride giving way to cautious optimism. The board agreed to restructure its complaint process, adding layers of mediation before fines or citations. I left the hall feeling a sense of triumph tempered by empathy. Justice, I realized, was not solely about punishment, but about restoring balance. In the following weeks, my home became an informal hub for monthly gatherings. We met on my porch under strings of lights, sharing potluck dinners and discussing everything from fence aesthetics to mental health resources. Karen, though still uneasy, contributed a homemade apple pie one evening, offering that sparked laughter when someone jokingly called it the peace pie. My K9s lounged at our feet, more figureheads than sentinels, basking in the camaraderie they had unwittingly inspired. One late Sunday afternoon, I walked the perimeter of my property with Dalton and Rex following dutifully. The breeze carried the scent of honeysuckle and warm earth. As I approached, the plano repainted and mounted on a post at my driveway's entrance bore a new inscription, Community First. Below it, neatly painted, was a dedication. To all who stand guard in heart and home. I paused, hand resting on its smooth surface, and felt a profound gratitude for the journey that had transformed fear into fellowship. That night, as I lay in bed, the soft rise and fall of my dog's breath beside me, I reflected on the unexpected path from aggression to alliance. Karen's fateful miscalculation had become the catalyst for genuine change, reminding us that upheaval can give birth to unity when met with courage and compassion.